Now, the exercises, you say you did some aerobics. What kind of exercise routine did you get into?
I did. At first I did aerobics. I figured that, I just joined a gym. I couldn't afford a trainer. And so I thought, you know what, doing aerobics classes would be probably the best way to start. Again, I talked to my doctor, so I made sure that, both my heart and my knees would be able to handle the types of aerobics I did. And then from there, I kind of expanded out. A great thing to do is hire a trainer for one session and just be explicit. It's just going to be one session. I want you to help me develop a weight routine. Mm-hmm. And I will say that I work out quite a bit, and I think that's because over the years, I really sort of messed up my metabolism a little bit by starting and cheating on diets, sometimes more than once a week.
Right.
So I am fairly obsessive about exercise, but for me that's a real touchstone. Right. And every morning I'm up and at the gym, and usually doing about a half hour rate of weights and a hour of cardio.
Okay.
But it's very simple stuff. Like walking is one of the best exercises you can do. Now, of course, it's all about standing upright, sucking in your gut, pumping your arms so that you're not just burning calories, but also helping your heart. I mean, walking is such an amazing exercise, and I have access to this great gym now. I know a lot of trainers who would give me tips, no problem, and I'm telling you, I am on the treadmill 5 days a week. And why? Because I see such good results from it. And if you can't be on the treadmill, get out in your neighborhood. And if it's snowing, then go to the mall. Make it happen.
So it's mostly just walking then? It's not even a ton of running?
No, I'm not a runner at all. I have tried it and I hate it, and I make it about 20 seconds and stop. And for me, that just does not work. Now, I do walk at a pretty quick pace, usually 3.5 to 4 miles an hour.
Okay.
But that's doable. I'm able to breathe. But I'm not able to read. If you're able to, if you're on the treadmill and you're able to read the magazine, then you're going a little too slow.
Okay. So you want to actually put some effort into it.
Yeah.
So would you say that you enjoy walking on the treadmill now and enjoy the different exercises you do?
No, I probably wouldn't say that.
So it's still a chore?
It's still a chore,
yeah. But a chore worth doing. I mean, it's an hour and a half of your day.
Yeah, no, it's a chore worth doing. I am up at 4:30 every morning. I'm at the gym by 5. And it's such an amazing feeling when you're finished, Right. I mean, you've accomplished something, you've done something for yourself. And it's about finding what time of day exercise works for you. For me, first thing in the morning is the best time, because usually by the time I'm finished with work, I don't exactly know when that will be every day.
Right.
And, sometimes I'm exhausted. So I know with me, it'd be easy for me to make an excuse and not go. So it's easier for me to do it first thing in the morning.
Okay. So find the time that works for you. Find the exercise that at least you say you weren't a runner, but at least walking is bearable for you.
Absolutely. And I would, in the past, again, I have access to a great gym now, but in the past, I would do exercise DVDs. I had just random stuff that I would get for free. Like I had this Jody Watley Dance to Fitness. Right. And so, imagine a 400-pound guy dancing to fitness. It sounds like a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Hey,
but you know what?
It takes.
I dance to fitness. I mean, it's whatever works. And I think the other thing, too, is to change it out so you don't get bored. So maybe it's a DVD. One day, PBS even, some of the PBS stations have yoga programs that are on in the middle of the night, but, set your DVR or VCR, whichever you have,
exactly,
and record that. I mean, it's just, there's stuff out there. So, you don't want to find excuses, whether it's time or budget or whatever it is. I get it, but you've got to commit to yourself.
Okay. You've had this great success story, and 8 years down the road, people keep asking you how you did it. That drove you to share your awesome story. And so tell us a little bit about your book, Just Stop Eating So Much.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, is people kept asking me about it. And of course they were hoping I'd pull the magic wand out of the car trunk and be like, poof, you're thin now like me. But the magic wand is eating less and working out more. I always joke that it's a thin book with simple advice, and it's, usually advice your grandmother told you.
Right.
But sometimes we need to see that in black and white. And, I was also sure to include a lot of before and after pictures in there, so that people see that, I really was heavy for all my life up until I found this solution. And also I approach it with a lot of tough love, because you know what? If you want to fit into those jeans, then you can't have that sleeve of cookies. It's just that simple.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, also humor. You know, we're all human. We've all been in these situations, whether somebody's trying to lose 5 pounds or 500 pounds. It is really, really tough.
Right.
And so I think it's important to keep your sense of humor about it, and also like yourself. You know, if you are always down on yourself or getting, you know, oh my God, I can't believe I cheated on that diet or whatever it is, you know, you're not going to want to help yourself. You think about it like, who would you rather help, your worst enemy or your best friend? So you got to think of yourself in those positive terms. And so that's all sort of encompassed in the book. There is an eating plan in there. There is an exercise plan that you can do at home, and then, you know, all kinds of ideas for resources depending on what a person's needs might be.
Okay, so there's a lot of help there, but does it also chronicle your own journey and kind of it's autobiographical?
Yeah, there's definitely some of that in there, and you know, some stories that I will never forget. I remember one time I'm not sure if this is in the book actually, but there was one time I was shopping. I was in college and I was shopping at a grocery store, and it was pretty crowded. And I was walking down the aisle with my cart, and there was a little girl with her mom, and she screamed out, "Mommy, Mommy, why does that man have boobs?" And everybody turned and looked at me, and, you know, of course I wanted to strangle the kid, but I thought, Greg, keep walking, you know, and I'm sure there was like cookies and ice cream in my cart.
Yeah.
Just, you know, a mortifying moment, but if we don't keep a sense of humor about it, then I don't think we're going to be successful.
And being thin isn't going to make you happy. If you can't be happy, you know, accepting yourself as you are, then it's going to be that much harder to lose weight. And then when you lose the weight, you're not going to be happy with the results. You're always just going to be a sour person. So it's kind of you have to have a positive mental attitude, and being able to laugh at yourself, I think, is key to that.
Yeah, and just liking yourself for all that you can today. You know, one day of diet success is amazing, and you've got to celebrate the whole journey. Again, you can't be so focused on what that end weight is, because there's going to be so many great miracles once you start it. You know, again, being able to buy a certain size clothing and feeling better, breathing better, all those things. It's so great.
Awesome. Now, with losing that much weight and that fast, did you have lots of extra skin that you had to get rid of? Were there surgeries you had to do for that?
I did. I didn't do it right away. It was several years later, but I did, you know, I had a lot of excess skin, like under my arms, around my chest, and especially around my abdomen. And so finally, at one point, I decided I was going to investigate what it would take to get rid of that. And luckily, I found a doctor who was willing to, you know, give me a pretty good rate, all things considered. I charged on credit cards. I mean, that's how desperate I was to get it done. And so I did have over 1.5 yards of skin removed. Wow. Because even with exercise, that much skin is not going to retract.
Right.
I will say, for what it's worth, I didn't have to get anything removed from my neck or my face. And I remember the doctor's wife told me, she said, that's because you had animal protein while you were dieting. And I never, and not to knock vegans, do what you need to do, but make sure you're getting all your nutrients. And so I thought that was very interesting, though. And most of my animal protein while I was in the weight loss phase was fish or poultry. There was some red meat, but not a lot. But again, so you want to do your research. You want to start your own scrapbook. You want to talk to your doctor, friends, and just make sure you're getting all the nutrition you can, because even if you do have to end up getting some skin removed, you want it to be less than that, and you want to be so healthy that going under that kind of major surgery will be worth it.
Right. And if you've lost the weight unhealthily and you're not actually in shape, it's probably makes a huge difference. Like if you had a gastric bypass, you still aren't a healthy person, and you still don't exercise, it probably makes a big difference about getting that surgery.
Yeah, and that's why you really want to educate yourself, eat from all the food groups, make sure you exercise, drink plenty of water, so much water. Right. I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is I take a little fresh lemon juice, put it in a big glass of water, and drink it down. It kind of kickstarts the metabolism, sort of gives you this mental rinse out, if you will. Okay. And then drinking lots of water throughout the day, because what you're doing is you're flushing your fat cells. And water is just such a healthy thing for us to have, whether you're losing weight or not. And, you know, one other thing that I'd love to say, too, is just eat very naturally. And I love all kinds of food, don't get me wrong. But, like, if I do grab for ice cream, I look for something with the least amount of ingredients. I really, for myself personally, do not believe in any kind of sugar substitutes, fat-free stuff. To me, I would rather have the teaspoon of sugar that my body knows how to metabolize.
Right.
So I think, again, education is really important, having an ongoing conversation with your doctor. Because it's like you said, you know, you want to look good, but you want to feel good too. And in looking good, you just don't want to fit into a certain size pair of pants. You want your skin to be healthy.
Right.
You want to be able to, you know, play with your dog or your kids or go rollerblading, whatever it is.
And really, life is all about that, being able to enjoy all the varieties of life. It's not just about being thin. It's about being happy. It's about being able to enjoy the things that you do, being able to enjoy your friends, being able to enjoy your family. And I think that if that's your goal, I think you're probably more likely to have success than if it's just the way you look.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it's about, just like you're going to balance your eating, you want to have a balanced life. And for a lot of us overweight people, that means taking the focus off of food, like not making that the sole focus. That's, you know, that's one part of your life, and it's great. Absolutely enjoy it. But also enjoy every other aspect of your life, even if it's the treadmill. Although, again, between you and me, don't tell any of your readers, but I don't enjoy that much.
Okay.
But I do it.
That's good to know. It's encouraging. Well, I don't know about encouraging, but it's realistic. Sometimes I wonder, well, can I get to that point where I love it and it's just I look forward to it every day? And I think some people can, and I think you can find something that you will love, but ultimately it is something that you have. It's a price. It's not going to come free. And really, when it comes down to it, an hour and a half is a very small portion of your day.
Yeah, and that's what works for me. Other people may not need that much time. And you're right, this is something that we have to pay attention to. And you know what? If we had like high blood pressure, if we were a diabetic, if we had some kind of medical condition, we would have to work at it every day. And that's what this is. It's a commitment to work on your health every day. And you know what? We work on relationships. We work on career. Work does not have to be a bad word. It really could be something productive and positive. And this is a great thing because you'll see the results and feel them.
Thanks. Now, do you fear that you'll ever gain the weight back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or do you feel like you have? Do you feel like are you pretty sure that you'll never gain it all back?
Well, this is on video, so I'm not going to ever say never. But yeah, you know, it's still something I think about. Food is still something I think about. Exercise, all that stuff. I joke to people, you know, my potential, you know, where it could go. I, haven't thrown out the 60-inch belt. For me, I'm probably more like the average person now. And, if I notice, I rarely weigh myself anymore. For me, it's all about how I feel in my clothes, and I'm in touch enough with my body that I can tell if I'm going up or down. And so if my clothes get a little tight, or if I'm not quite comfortable for some reason, or if I do get on the scale and see that, I'm 5 pounds up, I then start the journey back down at that point, rather than letting it get to 10 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever.
Okay. So now I was going to ask that, how often you weigh yourself now. How often did you weigh yourself on the journey?
Just about once a week, which is, which you'll read is what people recommend. And you really don't want to weigh yourself more than that because, your fluids change daily. And I think you set yourself up for failure because one day you could be down 3 pounds and the next day be up 2 pounds. But that doesn't mean necessarily that you gained 2 pounds of fat. Right. You might have done a muscle workout and gained some muscle mass, or your body
just water.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you might be metabolizing something a certain way. And so my recommendation would be once a week. And also to make a chart. I, did a chart in my book. And, I would take this book everywhere with me. And I'm sure in some ways it kind of manifested itself into the actual Just Stop Eating So Much book. Perfect.
So, yeah. So it sounds like the takeaways here are to not lose sight of what your end goal is, to focus, on the positives along the way, because there will be a lot of positives along the way, and not focus so much on the negatives along the way, but really embrace the positives, and that will keep motivating you to keep going, and to keep trying. And it's simple. It's not any tricks. There's no trick diets. There's no magic bullets. It is just a matter of finding what works for you and continuing on that.
Yeah.
Any other last words of advice?
Yeah, I mean, you just summed it up nicely, which I appreciate, and I really appreciate being interviewed for your site. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like you said, there are no tricks. And I think that the day that we stop tricking our body is the day that our bodies are going to respond more. And, we just, the weight will come off, you'll feel better, but it's eating less, it's exercising more, and really liking yourself along the way. And, figure out little rewards that you can do for yourself as well. Don't make it a punishment. Make it remember that you're choosing to do this, which is why books like, a scrapbook that you do yourself can help, or, a certain size clothes. Go out and buy that pair of jeans and put it on every day. And even though you can't quite get it, it to class,
yeah.
You'll see the difference. And so it's just really being good to yourself while you're on the journey.
And how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more, or if they want to buy your book? Where can they find you? People
can find the book on Amazon.com, Just Stop Eating So Much. I also have a Facebook page, which I try and contribute to daily, and that can be found under Just Stop Eating So Much, too. I'm always adding health news, recipes, happy to answer questions. It's all me. All me and sometimes Latte, the dog, show again. But he never answers the emails, though. It's usually me. So, yeah, I welcome questions, and I'm still on the journey. I'm learning it. I love to share just because I want people to know that it's possible to do it in a healthy way.
And then I also saw that there's resources on your website. There's like a food guide or a journal, like a PDF printable journal.
Yes, absolutely. Your readers can also go to juststopeatingsomuch.com. There's a little more information about the book there if they want that. And there's also resources which are free. There's a shopping list. There actually is a chart where you can track your success both on the scale and measuring, your measurements, which is important to do. We didn't really touch on that. And also food diary.
Okay, so there's lots of great resources. The man knows what he's talking about. He's done it himself, and I think people like yourself are the perfect example, because no matter where anybody is, I mean, I'm not saying you were the heaviest person that there ever was, but you were in the top percentile there, and you've come down to the bottom extreme to where you are in your ideal weight range. And
yes.
Just looking at you, look great. And you look healthy, and you're not just skin and bones. You are a healthy person.
I still have ice cream. Yeah, it can be done. No tricks, no surgery, no pills. Again, being medically informed, doing the research, talking to your doctor, but doing it by choice, and with as much happiness as you can, except for the treadmill.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to meet with me. It was a real pleasure to get to know you and to converse about this. And I look forward to seeing your site and your community grow. And I'll love to have you back on in the future if that is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a fan of your blog as well, and I think it's great that you're getting that information out there. And that's one of the great resources for people. So thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Greg. Have a good one.
Okay, you too.